We'll start with some opening comments from Coach.
Well, obviously, extremely happy and impressed with our players the second half, how we played and responded. Specifically, I think we were okay offensively the first half, but obviously defensively, number one in transition. For those that have been around this program know that we emphasize that quite heavily, so we had to kind of recheck ourselves at halftime a little bit and emphasize some things, and it starts on the offensive end with taking care of the ball and getting good shots, and I thought we did a much better job in the second half of that, and finished around the rim and made better decisions, and then were able to shut things off in transition in the second half, and going from, they had 13 transition points the first half to none in the second half was obviously a adjustment that needed to be made. So happy for our guys, proud of how our bench played, specifically to give our guys that had heavy minutes Saturday at Minnesota a little extra time and some time to rest and a boost, and definitely a very good team win.
Greg, I think you called a timeout late in the first half. After, I think it might have been after they hit a three. Was that what you were talking to you guys in that specific huddle, that get back in transition, identify the shooters?
Yeah, that was probably gone over about every timeout, in every media timeout in the first half. So knowing that they wanted to push it transition, but it's one thing if they come down and hit a three that's highly contested, but we had totally lost guys in transition, and typically it was, we just didn't communicate well enough in transition, or when we subbed of who had who. They had subbed, and we had not done a good job of matching that up and aligning with who we had. So we had to address those issues then, and we addressed them at halftime, and I would say got things figured out and much better in the second half.
You mentioned the bench. What do you think Khalil gave you in the second half, whether it's numbers or energy or defense?
Well, I think both. I mean, numbers obviously jump off, but there's a debate going on in the locker room whether it was the dunk that got him going or the dive on the floor. I said it was the dive on the floor because I thought that was a great, even though it was after the dunk. I mean, that energized him and energized us, and those are the things he can do. I mean, he athletically can create a lot of havoc defensively. It's obviously well documented or on video of what he does when he's above the rim, but those type of things are what he can bring to this team, and I think that gave him confidence when he came down 2 or 3 trips later and hits the three. So he's a player that really feeds off positive energy and plays like that. As much as anybody we have on this team, I think that really fuels him.
Coach, Meach was 1 of 6 from the field tonight, but he seemed to compete pretty much every possession down on the defensive end. How do you think he performed tonight? What do you take away from his performance?
Well, you look at 1 for 6, but I look at 4 assists, no turnovers, and how he was able to, sometimes when a player, specifically a young player, is trying to find their groove a little bit offensively and find their way, they normally go through ups and downs. That's par for the course. Every freshman we've had that played early and goes through that. But him getting to the free throw line in the second half was big, to be able to go there and watch the ball go in, and then obviously he did a very good job of taking care of the ball. When you can play against that, extended pressure a little bit and make good decisions. I thought he did a pretty good job of helping us. It helped us rest Bronson a little bit more and Showalter and on down the line. So that's the contributions we'd like to have from those guys.
Sure. Greg, you used the word "go off" to describe what was said at halftime. Were you more animated than usual?
What was the?
You said.
Who did?
Vito said "go off."
I went off.
He didn't say that specifically, but I'm just curious if you were a little more animated. You just didn't look happy much in the first half. I mean, did you?
You're right. I wasn't happy much in the first half. So specifically with what we talked about with transition things. So we just identified. We now, because of the technology in the coach's locker room, we can pull specific. We can pull ball screens. We can pull threes. We can pull transition defense. We can pull post play, and I can watch the clips. So I got reminded very vividly of what happened to us in transition. So it helped me refresh my memory exactly who and when and how. And so we just had to re-emphasize our rules in transition. Re-emphasize that probably nobody in the country works on that more than us from October on, and we have to have some pride in that. And that they did. They responded. That was the best thing to see was how they responded. And I'm sure there were several conversations in that locker room before I went in with the coaching staff. Halfway through the halftime, they do a very good job of addressing the right issues amongst themselves. So I'm sure anything that I probably didn't say anything new that they hadn't heard from a teammate before I went in there.
Tony?
You've had a lot of productive bigs come through here in Wisconsin, but have you ever had, especially defensively, but have you ever had a big who just has the ability that Hap has? He seems to have a knack to slip in front of the post and grab those entry passes. Almost every game, he seems like he gets one or two that can kind of start a fast break. Have you ever seen a big be able to do it like that before and not get called for a foul every time?
Well, I think the one thing is his awareness and hand-eye coordination. His footwork is really good, so that allows him to do that. Now, there's some times he's been burnt by it too, where he maybe rolls the dice a little bit too much and doesn't come up with the ball and ends up giving him a basket. So there's been some times where we've had to tell him to back off a little bit on that and be cautious of when you do it and when you don't. But I think he's unique from the standpoint of he's always a moving target behind the post player. If you watch him, he's always trying to take, he almost plays with the passer's mind a little bit of how he moves around the post, and he's getting better at being a post defender. I think he relied in his younger years or time gone by that he would rely on trying to do that all the time, and now he's playing position defense better and getting more physical when people do catch the ball on him and balling up and holding his ground. So, he's getting better. I think he's learned from film and learned from older teammates and people that have gone in front of him. So that's the nice thing about him. He always wants to get better on both ends. Everyone talks about his offense, but he's asking too how he can do things better defensively.
Chris?
Coach Vito also said the guys have talked about wanting to string those two halves together. What's the key to getting there, and what are the challenges when the next two aren't here?
Well, just taking one possession at a time. I don't think there's any magical potion to be able to play two halves consistently, and that's probably the word I've used with this group more than anything is how can we be more consistent? And it's just one possession at a time. Take care of the ball each time down, get the best shot you can each time down, try to get to the free throw line. There's, the recipe we've had here for a long time has been, very similar to years gone by, and we just got to continue to get better at it. We are getting better at it. I think I thought we wore them down a little bit on our bench. We're not going to come out and, we play good teams, so we're not going to come out and all of a sudden roll up by 25 in the first half. It's a process that we have to continue to wear teams down and get good contributions off the bench and have a balanced attack. If that happens, great. We're able to run out in the first half, but understand, are we doing everything well? We weren't in the first half. We collected ourselves and played much better in the second half, and we just got to continue to be more consistent with that. But we don't get caught up in looking at. We don't play to the scoreboard. I guess that's what I should say. And we talk about that a lot. Play the game the right way. Play every possession as well as possible. Then usually the scoreboard takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Greg, Brunson has talked about finding the right time to, I want to say, take games over, but become more assertive offensively, but within the structure of the offense. In these last few games, it's been and tonight as well, has he kind of got a feel for when to do that now, or developing it now? It seemed at times tonight where he really wanted to say, they can't guard me on the score.
Right, and I think moving him around a little bit has helped, whether it's been positional adjustment or playing him off the ball a little bit more, but also we've had him a little more actions for him. But I think he's also starting to read screens and those things and use screens better. Teammates are screening better for him. And we're still not as good of a screening team as I'd like to be, but we're better. So I think it's a combination of things, of him being more aggressive, but I think we've also we're better around him in terms of utilizing screens and those type of things.
Anything else for Coach?